from MMU, Manchester Metropolitan University. So yeah, as I have an exam today, doing one of the seminars in business school. So yeah, here we go with today's country, which is Russia. I'll probably get my portable charger so it doesn't run, phone doesn't run out on me, as I probably print out the script for today. Kind of like I did with the geopolitical when I was doing my exams, like first time out. So yeah, here we go with today's country. So yeah, which is Russia. So here we go. First mention of some community in the territory we now refer to as Russia came between the 4th century AD with the formation of the first tribal union of Eastern Slavs known as the Volhynians and Bosnians. As the following century marks another tribal union of Eastern Slavs, the Polyants. And in the middle basin of the Dnieper River, this period claims to be first written evidence about the Rus and Rus-ha, spelled R-U-S-A-H. And in 558, the Avars battled and won over the Slavic tribes of Gulabs, marking a subsequent series of victories and defeats as well as a broadening of the Slav nation over a long phase lasting about 300 years. At the beginning of the 8th century, the resettlement of Slavic tribes began in the upper basins of the Dnieper, western Dvina, and upper Volga rivers. And towards the end of the century, the ancient states of the Slavs faced with the north expansion of the Khazar Khanate and the invasion of the tributes of Slavic tribes in Polynesian, Serbian, Ryutichi, and Radimichi. On the countries conquered by the Mongols in Central Asia, the Caspian and northern Black Sea coast, which had favourable natural extensive mimic herding and became the territory of the Mongolian state, which had generally maintained its own independent statehood throughout that period. Independence on Russia from the Khans of the Golden Horde, expressed in the heavy tributes which Russian peoples were forced to give the invaders. And the cultures of the Slavic tribes on the eve of the ancient Russian state was marked by the creation of the Slavic alphabet in Cyril and Methodius in the middle of the 9th century in the Russian language and became a source of cultural history. And being at the time very similar to other Slavic languages, and the end of the century set the stage of the reign of Prince Oleg, famous for the unification of the Novgorod and Kiev regencies, and later the transfer of the capital from Novgorod to Kiev. Let me find my answer again. The newly born kingdom conquered and founded Kievan Rus. In the early 13th century, a large Mongol state formed in Central Asia, and a territory occupied by Mongolian tribes stretched from Lake Baikal and the upper reaches of the Yenisei River and the Irtysh River to the north down to the southern regions of the Gobi Desert. And half of the principal tribes, the Mongols, also wore the name of the Tatars in the early 30s of the 13th century. The Mongol Tatars engaged in a war in China and Central Asia, strategically explored the further fate of military invasion and collected information on the political situation and collected economic and military capabilities of European countries. The reasons behind the rapid and victorious advances of Genghis Khan. Khan's troops was the fragmentation of Russia by the principalities competing with each other, and since the second half of the 14th century, the unification process. I hate the phone compared to a minute. Computer concern, I can't actually see where I'm up to half time. Unification begins, having a major driving force and of steady speed of the main political rivals by the Moscow principalities in the 60s of the 70s of that century, the 14th century, and formation of Russian lands has began around Moscow and the city, which played a role in political supremacy in the region. As Moscow took over the organisation of a nationwide struggle to overthrow the yoke of the Golden Horde, and the final stage of unification took place. The final stage of unification took place about 50 years during the reign of Ivan III, from 1462 to 1505, and the first years of the reign of his successor Vasily III from 1505 to 1533. The following 100 years witnessed a struggle with the Scandinavian kingdoms and the northern and northwestern borders, ascension by Russian lands and the lower reaches of the Volga River to northern Caucasus and Siberia. Sorry, I have a drink. I like Pepsi Max Cherry and all that, but hot causes all sorts. And the concept of the Russian Empire, with Peter the Great aggrandized with farms and countries had never been seen before. And all the transformations of Peter the Great were also the time. They were concluded historians generally divided into a few types, forms of government and administration, industrial transformation, trade and finance, military forms and changes in foreign policy of the state. Reforms to education, culture and church reforms, and as Peter's urge for modernisation in the economy was due to dire conditions of the country after the devastating Northern War, and it was necessary to establish production of the industrial levels to meet the army, and in the end, the Northern War, Russia took a firm position of the great European powers. As architecture, literature and state of culture in general passed the transition period. Some were reflecting the Western European influence, and is notable in the late 17th and early 18th centuries, as well as the Moscow Baroque style, as well as developments of church architecture, as well as the developments of church architecture. Europe is the name of Russian ballet, and yet the state capital was moved from Moscow's Baroque mansions to the grandeur of the modernized St. Petersburg classicism. But the Roman and Russian Empire ended in 1917, with a socialist revolution in 1917 in Russia, as there was one in March where the Tsar abdicated and his family were left in custody, and then there was the October Revolution, where the Soviets took control. As Moscow became the capital once again, the state system of the large Russian country had changed completely, as the followers of the communist ideas of Marx and the ideology of the Russian Revolution, Vladimir Lenin, took over until 1922, and there was a civil war and formation of the state, which entered the history as the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union existed for 17 years, which was a body of 15 Soviet republics to the west, southwest, and southeast of what was once the Russian Empire. During its existence, the Soviet country has significantly raised the educational level of society through access to free education system, which was compulsory for all layers of the population, like no matter your social position and all that, whether you're like a peasant or an intellectual and all that, it was free. As the country passed the stage of industrialization, developing light and heavy industry, metallurgy and high-tech industries, including space shipbuilding, resulting in manned space expedition, as the Soviet Unions were the first to get a man into space. Despite the outer achievements, the country had an ideological issues as time passed by, as high dependency of imported carbohydrates and in decline in productivity led to decline in the economy. In the 80s till the end of the century, and socialism was in a dire need of reform because of the accumulated problems with the national economy, foreign policy, Cold War, and human rights abuses associated with the ideological intolerance of the ruling elite and the government. And with Mikhail Gorbachev coming to power in 1985, the country's development vector has changed even more dramatically, and in times of peace of the great and all. And changes affected foreign policy and openness of society to the rest of the world. The process of perestroika, sorry if I mispronounce anything, have altered the institutions of government and glasnost, meaning openness, pushed the boundaries of freedom and expression, and freedom of conscience. And after the Soviet Union ceased to exist in 1992, as it kind of fell, I think Boxing Day 1991, finally, a phase of self-formation occurred in the republics of the former Soviet Union, as they've been kind of breaking away since 1989 to 1991. The former Soviet Union and one of the largest, the Russian Federation, which was the basis of the Russian Empire, and later the Soviet Union. Has embarked upon the construction of a market economy, and Russia is currently engaging in a number of military endeavors in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. There's many of which are kind of controversial, like Syria. As Russian actions are frowned upon by the UN and NATO standing for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Yeah, that's the history for you. And moving on to language. The official language of Russia is mostly Russian, as the Russian language emerged on the basis East Slavic language with Russian state establishment. There came a need to develop average dialects to probably equally understand also all the tribes. And such dialects was based on the dialect of Polanians and the residents of the capital of Kiev at the time. The dialect was the basis of Old Russian literary language. An actual writing system emerged when Russia adopted Christianity and all that, and after that. As I said, alphabet was invented in the 9th century by brothers Cyril and Methodius. With the help of Greek literary language, Greek language and all, as they were translated into Slavonic. And since Cyrillic has been widespread across the Slavic world, and after the baptism of Rus, it came into use by the Eastern Slavic population. And it was only in the 18th century the language was modified and simplified, and in the 1917-1918 it acquired modern Russian graphics, and the latest form of the language dates back to the early 1970s. And it's really but there's like small minority groups of languages in ethnicities in Russia, like Ukrainians, Belarusians, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Azerbaijani, German, Latvian, Bulgarian, Finnish, Estonian, Armenian, Georgian, Greek, and so on and so forth. And yeah. In 2000, Russia had about 100 languages belonging to the family of Indo-European languages. And yeah. Moving on to legends, quickly. So it's destroyer tables, that's the nice tables. I had them last year and they were good. So yeah. Let's go through legends. As Russia has been like a load of courageous and magical kingdoms, creating colourful Russian history, legends and all that. With a fairy tale protagonist and antagonist. Yeah. And magical kingdoms where no one could really get bored in. And yeah. As the first one is the Baba Yaga. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. As it's one of the most frequently encountered legends and all that. As she's most often found as the owner of a wooden hut and chicken legs, or as a guardian of a way into the wild woods that she doesn't let anyone pass, as the Baba Yaga tests the hero's nerve and courage. If he proves worthy, she helps him along his way to his task, giving him talisman that will aid his work. Plus there's another kind of Baba Yaga who's has to be avoided and all. And the one who enjoys feasting on children. As the protagonist must rely on their wits to save themselves from her, and she may also, on account of her age and laziness, give the kitchen work to someone who, out of fortunate or good-heartedness, has let suffer run off, as the Baba Yaga can be quite pugnacious and chases her hero for ages on her giant broom. As tales include Baba Yaga, Vasilisa, the Beautiful, and magic swangies. Yeah, that was just the first of 12 that I have for you. As the second is the Kikimora, who is an evil spirit. And she appears in two forms, depending on who she marries. As the bog hag, who is married to a hobgoblin, and the house hag is the wife of a Domovoi, now like a house spirit in Slavic folklore. As a bog hag appears in the fairy tales as another woman clad in seaweed. Among the fairy tales, as an old woman clad in seaweed, her job is to frighten those who wander through the marshes, or travellers into quicksand and steal small children. So yeah, keep your children close to you is kind of what the moral is. The house hag is quite different, and she lives quietly in her house, and she really shows herself to people, as the legend says that the hag most often the soul of people who have drowned or of children who have died before they were baptised. The most well-known tale of the hag is Kikimora by Alexei Tolstoy. Yeah. And the third is Iron Fool, the young son of a peasant farmer. He doesn't think before acting, and he often does things like randomly, like spontaneously. Other people don't take him seriously, and at the best they treat him like a fool, and at worst they push him around, and Ivan the Fool doesn't like work. He can't manage even the simplest task, and instead bringing woe upon his family or employer. And yet somehow he always wonders through thanks to some miraculous assistance. And he ends up achieving feats that not even heroes can manage. And despite his chaotic nature, Iron Fool fulfills a very important role. His bungling antics provide amusements for both the other characters and the readers too. And they prove that even the slows sometimes turn out to be the fastest. Yeah. Moving on to 4. The Frog Princess, which we do kind of know all about. Here we are. I'm doing something next door. As a Frog Princess is a perfect wife, clever and beautiful, sensible and resourceful, loyal and thrifty. And on top of all, she's skilled in magic arts. There's an army of nannies at her command who will assist her even in seemingly impossible circumstances. There is, however, one drawback in the orders of her powerful father. She has been changed into a frog for 3 years, and is compelled to appear in the form of a betrothed, the Tsarevich crown prince Ivan. The fairy tale has a whole gamut of fantastic elements. Here you'll find the ritual as the crown prince finds the frog with the aid of an arrow. And there's a breaking of rules as Ivan burns a frog skin and loses his beloved. And in penalty for his frog skin, for his transgression, he is assigned a trial. He must endure in order to win the frog back. My tale is just called the Frog Princess kind of thing. And then there's finally Nightingale the Robber. Is a hero from the classic Russian epic tale as the first journey of a mountain, Moromets. He lives in a nest which is either 12 or 9 oak trees, and he is the head of the family. And there's 3 grown-up daughters, and their husbands live with them. And he stalks the road from Chernihiv to Kiev. And no matter where the travellers go, on horseback or on foot, the nightingale whistles at them with his deathly call and frightens them to death. So nice. And first things went until the warrior Moromets defeated the nightingale and took him to the Grand Prince of Kiev. The people have seen Nightingale in different ways. Sometimes as a man, sometimes as a winged alien half-man, and he personifies a kind of fear that might strike the travellers along their way. And there's 6. And there's Koschei the Immortal, who is an evil monarch, and he's usually depicted as either as a scrawny old man or as a king on horseback, as he's not completely immune to death. As he can be killed, but to do so you need to break a magic needle, which is hidden in an egg, which is in a duck, poor duck, which is in a hare, poor hare, which is in a chest of an oak tree, poor rabbit. There's an alternative version of the story in which a stallion brings death to King Koschei, and his tale is The side one is one of his stories. Koshchei the warrior tells how he had once been a warrior, but had been betrayed by his comrade and had been taken prisoner by his enemies. And many long years he was able to break out of his rusting chain armour and started to take his revenge and all, which is always a way in these kind of stories. Several versions of the Koshchei story have been having imprisoning women, usually the betrothed of young heroes of the tale. Yeah. And then there's the Firebird of Russia, which is kind of like a Russian version of the Phoenix, like from Harry Potter and all. And usually the bird is a lure for brave young men who seek fame and fortune, as the Firebird is a large bird of extraordinary beauty, enveloped in fire, as her feathers were of burnished gold, and her eyes of oriental crystal. Despite this, her appearance is easy to capture Firebird, for it's illicitly eating the apples of the Tsar's garden, or catch her scarfing down a grain of the wheat fields. And very often the hero happens upon a Firebird's feather and brings it to a star as a gift, not knowing what still may then befall him. Having given feathers that shine more brightly than the candles, the star usually wants a whole bird and sends the hero off on a perilous quest. And yeah. And yeah. And there's eight. Eight is Vodyanai, or water spirit. Is the king of the deep, and in Slavic mythology, the water spirit is often an unattractive old man covered in slick salt and algae, and sometimes with a fishy tail, but he can change form. He dwells in all kinds of reservoirs and wells, but you most frequently find him in pools near watermills. In mythology, he is considered evil, but in fairy tales, is often not malevolent. Though he sometimes tries to prevent the young hero from marrying his beloved, especially if she turns out to be the water spirit's daughter. Water spirit appears in the Tsarevich Ivan and Princess Martha. Then there's the ninth. There's Gulka, the pikefish. A slurs of all assigned terrifying abilities to the fish, and people thought it could swallow a man. And the water spirits rode it in the watery kingdoms. And in Russia, ancient fairy tales, pike assumes more reasonable premonitions and more harmless nature. In fact, a meeting with a pikefish brings good luck, and the fish can even grant wishes, but you have to catch it first. There's Yamila, Ria, the fool, or Ivan in some version does in fairy tale of some name, and then releases it back into the water. And there is no limit to how many wishes you ask it and all. As Yamila gets 8 wishes in his tail. I've finished a quarter of all the tales now, so yeah, I've got 3 more tales to go. The 10th one is Vasilisa, the beautiful, who shouldn't be confused with her namesake, Vasilisa the wise, who was a sorceress and daughter of the king of the seas. As Vasilisa the beautiful is a merchant's daughter, as her mother died young, leaving her to cope with an evil stepmother, starting to sound a bit like Cinderella. And she is sweet and good-natured, but gets into lots of scraps, especially with the Baba Yaga. And she's helped in her adventures by a doll her mother left her. The story of Vasilisa is an illustration of the folk belief that living when parents continue to watch over their children and help them from the grave. And yeah. Then there's the 11th, Ganesha, a dragon who has many heads. Yeah, So it sounds interesting. And he appears out of the water, spew flames from his nostrils, occasionally flying on wings of fire. And often lives in mountains as Gornich, kidnaps women and besieges cities. But unlike the Baba Yaga, he can be brought up or distracted and is always determined to make a meal for those who disturb his rest or thwart his plans, as usually there is only one hero able to defeat the dragon, who arrives sooner or later to challenge the dragon to a showdown. And then there's the 12th and the last one, as Asara is an all-powerful character from fairy tales, subplots and all. It's very often the young hero will meet the Tsar before his great adventure begins, as the Tsar is always seen to lack the beautiful brides, firebirds and fearless stallions and all. But Tsar is always dispatching young heroes like his own sons and all. And some knights in his entourage or a newly arrived traveller to disdain some to distant realms and all, where the very thing the Tsar needs is to be found, and he's also happened to be a hero who gets an audience with the Tsar.
Oh, no.
Hi.
If you